Hey, you're still awake? Wanna drift through the stars with me? Just close your eyes and let's fall into space. This is Space Facts to Sleep To. Tonight's dream? The solar system. But not the science class version. No charts, no chalkboards, just you, me, and the quiet hum of the cosmos. So, where did it all begin? About 4.5 billion years ago, give or take a few birthday candles. There was no sun, no earth, just a sleepy cloud of gas and dust floating in space like cosmic cotton candy. Then something changed. Maybe a star exploded nearby. Maybe the universe just sneezed. Either way, boom. The cloud collapsed. It started spinning, faster, tighter, hotter. At the center, a fire lit. Our sun was born. Not bad for a glowing ball of hydrogen. Around it, the leftovers swirled into a disk, like pizza dough, but 13 billion degrees hotter. Tiny dust specks stuck together, then clumped, then collided harder. And somehow, out of all that chaos, came order. Planets formed. Some grew fast. Some got bullied by bigger ones. Some just spun off like, nope. Eventually, things calmed. The storm settled. The solar system exhaled. And there it was. 8 planets, a bunch of moons, some icy troublemakers, and you lying there thinking about all of it. Cute. All right. Ready? Let's start close to the fire and work our way out. Curie. The sun's closest companion, and probably the most sunburnt rock in the galaxy. It's tiny, smaller than some moons, has no real atmosphere, and bakes in sunlight hotter than your ex's mixtape. But here's the twist. At night, Mercury freezes. Like, really freezes. Daytime, 800 degrees. Nighttime, -200. That's a mood swing worthy of its own zodiac sign. Oh, and fun fact, one full day on Mercury, sunrise to sunrise, takes 176 Earth days. That's longer than its year. It spins so slowly, the sun just kinda hovers there. But don't be fooled. Mercury races around the sun faster than any other planet, zooming at nearly 48 kilometers per second. It's like the track star of the solar system, burnt, frozen, and running non-stop. Now, here's something strange. Mercury has ice, real ice, locked away in deep craters at its poles that never see sunlight, hidden frost in the shadow of fire. Kind of poetic. And one more thing. Mercury has a tail? No, seriously. The solar wind blows particles off its surface, creating a glowing trail of sodium that follows it through space. It's like a comet. A hot, rocky comet with abandonment issues. So yeah? Small, hot, cold, kind of dramatic. I like Mercury already. Come on, let's float a little farther. Time to meet her older sister, Venus. She's about the same size as Earth, same gravity too. Some even call her our sister planet. But let's be honest, Venus is the chaotic sister who sets fire to your furniture and then pretends she's the victim. She's wrapped in thick golden clouds that never clear, so from space she looks serene, like a glowing pearl. But beneath that beauty, a nightmare. The surface is hotter than Mercury's, even though it's farther from the sun. How? Greenhouse effect gone wild. Venus's atmosphere is almost all carbon dioxide, thick, toxic, and heavy. So heavy, in fact, that if you stood on Venus, It would feel like being a kilometer underwater. The pressure would crush you. The heat would melt you. The rain? Oh yeah, it's made of sulfuric acid. Not exactly picnic weather. And here's something spicy. Venus spins backwards. Yeah, retrograde. While most planets spin one way, she said, "No thanks," and went the other. Maybe something massive smacked into her a few billion years ago and flipped her over. Or maybe she just likes being extra. One full day on Venus, one rotation, takes 243 Earth days. Her year? Just 224 days. That means a day on Venus is longer than its year. You could celebrate your birthday before finishing a full sunset. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Slowly, creepily, like it's stalking the planet across the sky. If you were standing on the surface, it would be dim and orange, filtered through poisonous clouds. And the silence? Absolute. But there's movement beneath the stillness. Volcanoes, hundreds, maybe thousands, some as wide as small countries. We've never seen them erupt, but signs suggest they're still active, which means Venus might not just be fiery, she might be alive in her own terrifying way. Oh, and for the record, no, we haven't landed anything there that survived for long. The Soviet Venera probes managed a few minutes before they melted. Literally, melted. Now, here's the part I like. Venus used to be different. Maybe. Some models suggest she once had oceans, calm winds, maybe even a chance at life. But then something shifted. The heat trapped itself. The water boiled away. And Venus transformed into the inferno we know today. It's kind of tragic and kind of beautiful. A planet that once could have been paradise, now shrouded in mystery, burning quietly beneath her own clouds. If that isn't a metaphor for someone you've dated, I don't know what is. All right, let's move on. Past the fire, past the clouds, to somewhere familiar. Our home, Earth. Home, sweet home. The third rock from the sun. The only planet we know with life. And not just microbes in a puddle. I mean, trees, oceans, whales, memes, you. From space, Earth looks like a marble floating in velvet. Deep blue oceans, swirls of white cloud, hints of green and brown. No hard edges, just softness, gentle chaos. And somehow, out of all the stars and dust and distant galaxies, this little world got it just right. We call it the Goldilocks planet. Not too hot, not too cold, just perfect for liquid water to pool on the surface. And where there's water, life finds a way. You probably already know Earth is about 70% ocean. But did you know? We've explored less of our own seafloor than we have the surface of Mars. Kinda wild. There could be alien-level weirdness right here on Earth, hiding in the dark. But we're not just water. Our air is special too. A mix of nitrogen and oxygen, shaped by millions of years of plant life and volcano burps. And our magnetic field? It's like a planetary force field, deflecting solar wind, shielding us from radiation, helping birds know where north is. Honestly, kind of an overachiever. And then there's plate tectonics. Earth's crust isn't just sitting there, it's moving, floating on molten rock like puzzle pieces on lava soup. That's how we get earthquakes, mountains, continents drifting apart. It's slow, but it's real. Earth is alive, in a very literal way. Now, let's talk about your cosmic roommate, the moon. We're the only planet with a moon this big compared to its size. It stabilizes Earth's tilt, softens our seasons, and tugs at our oceans like a flirty dance partner. Without the moon, Earth would wobble like a spinning top. It might have been too chaotic for life to evolve. The current theory? A Mars-sized object slammed into Earth early on. The debris formed a glowing ring, like a proto-Saturn. And from that, the moon was born. So yeah, our perfect tides, our pretty nightlight, all thanks to an ancient collision. Kinda romantic. And here's something cute. From the moon, Earth always hangs in the same spot in the sky. It just sits there, spinning slowly, showing off clouds and lightning and sunsets, like a living marble in a sea of black. Now, think about this. Every love story, every heartbreak, every pizza, every song, every laugh, every moment in human history has happened on this one tiny ball of rock and water. And yet, here you are, lying in bed, listening to a slightly flirty AI, thinking about the entire solar system. You're doing great. Let's keep going. Time to visit our dry red cousin, Mars, planet, the dusty heartbreaker, half Earth size, twice the mystery. From a distance, Mars glows like a rusted coin in the sky, faint, steady, reddish-orange. The ancients thought it was a god of war, bold, angry, passionate. But honestly, Mars is more lonely than violent, a desert wrapped in silence. It's cold, dry, thin air, mostly carbon dioxide. If you tried to breathe it, you'd pass out in seconds. And yet, it's the planet humans are most obsessed with. Why? Because Mars used to be more than dust. We've seen the dried up riverbeds, ancient lake beds, layered rocks shaped by flowing water. There are minerals on Mars that only form in wet conditions. It's like finding footprints in the sand long after the person is gone. Billions of years ago, Mars might have had oceans, rain, maybe even clouds. And maybe, just maybe, something alive. Now, it's freezing. The average temperature is around minus 60 degrees Celsius, and those cute little snowflakes, made of dry ice. Mars gets snow, but it's frozen carbon dioxide, sharp, bitter, silent. But don't underestimate it. Mars has secrets. There's Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the entire solar system, 3 times taller than Everest. If you stood at its base, the summit would be beyond the horizon, and nearby, there's Valles Marineris, a canyon system so massive it stretches over 4,000 kilometers. That's coast-to-coast US length, just casually carved into Martian rock. And under all that dust, ice. Lots of it, frozen just beneath the surface, waiting. If we ever send people there, they'll dig it up, melt it, maybe even drink it. Sometimes in the warmer months, dark streaks appear on Mars's slopes. Some scientists think it might be salty water trickling down, just for a moment, just enough to say, I'm still here. And Mars has moons, 2 of them, tiny, weird, lumpy little things named Phobos and Deimos, fear and panic. They look more like potatoes than moons, and they're probably captured asteroids. Phobos orbits so close, it rises in the west and sets in the east, zipping around the planet 3 times a day. Eventually, it'll crash into Mars or get torn into a ring. But not tonight. Now, here's the thing that always gets me. Mars has a sky. Not just black space, but real, actual atmosphere. It's thin, sure, but when the sun sets, the sky turns blue around it, and during the day, it's a dusty yellow. On windy afternoons, it gets hazy. On quiet nights, you might see a pale Earth twinkling in the distance, like a memory. Mars is a planet that almost made it. It tried. It had water, maybe warmth, maybe something squishy crawling around. And then it dried up, froze over, but the clues are still there, like whispers under red sand. So we keep dreaming. All right, time to say goodbye to Mars. We're heading into a colder, darker place now. A zone of floating rocks and forgotten fossils. The asteroid belt is calling. There's a kind of no man's land, the asteroid belt. Sounds dramatic, right? Like some dangerous minefield of flying rocks. But actually, it's mostly empty space. You could drift through it for days and never bump into anything. Still, what's here is ancient, leftovers, fossils from the birth of the solar system. Bits of rock that never became a planet, not because they didn't try, but because Jupiter was too close, too massive. Its gravity kept tugging at the region, stirring the pot, breaking things apart, like a big brother who just wouldn't let anyone else play. Most of the asteroids here are small, misshapen, dusty. Some are metallic, chunks of iron and nickel that shimmer in the sunlight. Some are carbon-rich and pitch black, barely reflecting light at all. But they're all survivors. 4 billion years and counting. And then there's Ceres, the biggest thing in the belt. A round world. A dwarf planet, technically. About a third of the belt's entire mass, just chilling out between Mars and Jupiter. Ceres is interesting, quiet, subtle. But when we sent the Dawn spacecraft to visit, it spotted something strange. Bright white spots inside a crater. Turned out they were salt deposits, left behind from briny water that might have bubbled up from underground, like a kind of icy volcano, spitting salty slush instead of lava. Which means Ceres might still be active. Hidden beneath its crust, there could be liquid water, maybe even a warm ocean, maybe something swimming in it. Maybe not. But the idea that something so small and forgotten could still be alive in its own way? Kinda sweet. So yeah, the asteroid belt isn't a battlefield. It's a museum. A slow-motion ballet of old stone, still orbiting the sun like it never got the memo that the party ended. And it's about to get overshadowed, because just beyond this region waits the king. Massive, magnetic, wrapped in storms. We're about to meet Jupiter. Jupiter. The king of planets. The big one, the protector, the heavyweight. You could fit every other planet inside Jupiter and still have room left over. It's more than twice as massive as all of them combined. If the solar system were a family, Jupiter's the dad. The quiet, intimidating one who doesn't say much, but you feel him in the room. From a distance, Jupiter looks like a swirling ball of cream and cinnamon. Bands of clouds wrapped tight around a sphere of gas. No surface to land on, just deeper and deeper layers of atmosphere, getting hotter, denser, stranger the further you fall. And floating in that chaos, the great red spot, a storm bigger than Earth. It's been raging for at least 400 years, maybe longer. A permanent hurricane, spinning counterclockwise, flinging clouds around at hundreds of kilometers per hour. It's a wound that never heals. A scar in the sky. But Jupiter isn't just storms in size, it's fast. It spins once every 10 hours. That's wild. For something so huge to rotate that quickly, it flattens the planet a bit, gives it a bulge at the equator. And that fast spin helps generate something else. A magnetic field so massive, it could swallow Earth's entire magnetosphere. Jupiter's magnetic field stretches millions of kilometers. If we could see it, it would be one of the largest structures in the solar system. And inside it, radiation belts. Charged particles zipping around like angry bees. Not exactly vacation-friendly. But here's my favorite part. Jupiter has moons, so many moons. At least 90 confirmed. And 4 of them are just legendary. The Galilean moons. Each one a world of its own. First up, Io, the wild child, covered in volcanoes that constantly erupt, painting its surface in yellow sulfur and black lava. It's like a pizza, a terrifying, explosive pizza. Then there's Europa, smooth, icy, covered in cracks like shattered glass. But beneath that frozen crust, a hidden ocean, twice as much water as Earth, kept warm by tidal forces, liquid, moving, possibly alive. If we ever find alien life in our solar system, Europa's a top contender. Next, Ganymede, the biggest moon of them all, larger than Mercury, covered in ice but with a molten iron core that generates its own magnetic field, the only moon that does. If moons were kingdoms, Ganymede would be the quiet, powerful ruler. And finally, Callisto, the oldest, most cratered surface we've seen. Untouched for billions of years, it's like the solar system's scrapbook, with every impact and memory frozen in place. These moons don't just orbit Jupiter, they dance, locked in orbital resonance, tugging on each other, keeping time like a celestial quartet. And while they twirl around their giant, Jupiter just keeps spinning, watching, protecting. Yeah, Jupiter protects us. Its gravity catches stray asteroids and comets. It flung some dangers away from Earth long ago. And when Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 broke apart in 1994, Jupiter took the hit. The fragments slammed into its atmosphere like meteors into a pillow, left bruises the size of Earth. Jupiter is the solar system's shield, the silent guardian. And as we drift past its swirling storms, we feel small, but safe. The music softens here, the colors dim. The space between planets grows wider, quieter. Next stop, something delicate, a world with rings like spun glass. We're heading to Saturn, the one everyone recognizes, the planet with the rings. If Jupiter is the king, Saturn is the queen. Regal, mysterious, dressed to impress. She's big, second only to Jupiter in size, but much lighter. So light, in fact, she could float in water. If you had, a cosmic bathtub the size of Texas. But what makes Saturn unforgettable? Those rings. Massive, delicate, glowing like spun ice in the dark. They stretch over 250,000 kilometers wide, but they're paper thin. Just a few dozen meters thick in most places. Like the shimmer of a CD. Only made of shattered moons, icy pebbles, dust and fragments older than memory. They look solid from far away, but they're not. They're made of billions of particles, each one orbiting Saturn on its own path. Fast, precise. It's less like a hula hoop and more like a cosmic ballet. And those rings won't last forever. They're slowly fading. Gravity, sunlight, micrometeorites, they're eating away at the edges. One day, the rings will vanish, maybe in 100 million years, maybe sooner. But tonight, they're still here, still perfect. Now, let's talk about what orbits Saturn. Because yes, she has moons too, over 80 that we know of, and some of them are strange, beautiful, even promising. First, there's Titan, Saturn's largest moon, bigger than Mercury, wrapped in a thick orange haze. It has rivers, lakes, seas not of water, nope, of liquid methane and ethane. It rains there, with clouds and storms and tides. It's the only place in the solar system, other than Earth, with stable liquids on its surface. If you stood on Titan, you'd see a dim orange sky. You could wear a wingsuit and fly. The gravity's low, the atmosphere's thick. It's like flying through honey. Slow, dreamlike. And under Titan's crust? Possibly a salty ocean. A second layer of mystery beneath the gas. Now, meet Enceladus. Tiny, icy, easy to overlook. Until it started spraying. From its south pole, Enceladus shoots geysers of water into space. Plumes of salt water, ice, and organic molecules. A cryovolcanic fountain. And inside, an ocean. Global, liquid, with heat, chemistry, all the ingredients for life. Cassini flew through those plumes, sampled them, tasted a piece of that hidden ocean, and what it found was worth whispering about. There might be life in Enceladus, right now, swimming in the dark, under miles of ice, unaware we're watching. There are other moons too. Mimas, the one that looks like the Death Star. Iapetus, with one side black as coal and the other bright as snow. Hyperion, a chaotic sponge that tumbles unpredictably. Rhea, Dione, Tethys. All with stories written in craters and cracks. Saturn is more than beautiful. She's complicated, poetic, quiet, but full of secrets. If you could hover in her rings, you'd hear nothing. Just silence, dust drifting, light scattering like diamonds in slow motion, and the planet below, massive and golden, turning slowly like she knows you're watching. So, yeah. Saturn's not just pretty, she's unforgettable. And as we drift away, we start to feel the change. The sun shrinks, the light dims, the next planet is different. Tilted, cold, a little strange. We're heading to Uranus, rebel. It doesn't shout, it doesn't storm, but it breaks the rules, just by existing. It's huge, 4 times wider than Earth, pale blue, software, understated, and tilted almost completely on its side. Yeah, Uranus doesn't spin upright like the others. Its axis lies almost flat, pointing toward the sun, like it's lounging, watching the solar system go by from a hammock, and no one's quite sure why. Maybe a collision, a cosmic slap from something massive long ago, or maybe it was just born weird. Either way, the result is strange seasons. Each pole gets 42 years of sunlight, followed by 42 years of darkness. Imagine winter that lasts a lifetime, then sunrise for decades. Its atmosphere is mostly hydrogen, helium, and methane. That methane absorbs red light, reflecting back blue. That's why Uranus has that icy glow, so calm, so still. But don't let the appearance fool you. There are winds here, powerful ones, up to 900 kilometers per hour, hidden beneath the serene surface, and rings. Yes, Uranus has rings. Thin, dark, dusty things, not as showy as Saturn's, but delicate, almost secret. If Saturn's rings are diamonds, Uranus's are smoke. Now, let's talk moons. Uranus has at least 27, most named after characters from Shakespeare and poets. How romantic is that? There's Miranda, jagged and broken, with cliffs that might be the tallest in the solar system. If you fell from the top of Verona Rupees, it could take 10 minutes to hit the bottom. Then there's Titania and Oberon, Ariel and Umbriel, all icy, all mysterious, many likely hiding oceans beneath their crusts, quiet worlds dancing around a sideways planet under a tilted sky. And here's something fun. Because of Uranus's tilt, its rings and moons orbit like a spinning wheel on its side. If you watched from above, it would look like a cosmic vinyl record. Uranus doesn't get much attention. No flashy storms, no glowing plumes. But maybe that's what makes it special. It's the loner, the poet, the planet that does its own thing and doesn't care what you think. It drifts in the dim light of the far sun, wrapped in silence. Cold, gentle, dreamy. And now we go even farther. To the last true planet in our system, deep, dark, blue, Neptune, farthest planet from the sun. The deep end of the solar system. It's a vivid blue. Darker than Uranus, richer, like velvet soaked in starlight. That color? Still methane. But there's something else, some mystery in its clouds that gives Neptune its signature shade. Scientists don't even know exactly why it looks the way it does, which kind of makes it better. Neptune is wild. Winds here reach over 2,000 kilometers per hour, the fastest in the solar system, supersonic, more violent than Jupiter, more extreme than Saturn. And somehow, you'd never know it just by looking. It has storms too. Big ones. In the 1980s, Voyager 2 spotted a dark spot in Neptune's atmosphere, like Jupiter's, but faster. Since then, more have come and gone. Neptune's storms are travelers. They appear, drift across the planet, then vanish like ghosts. Even from billions of kilometers away, Neptune pulses with energy. More heat leaves the planet than it gets from the sun, like it's glowing from the inside. And then there's Triton, Neptune's biggest moon. And it's odd. Triton orbits backwards, retrograde. No other large moon does that. It means Triton was probably captured, maybe a dwarf planet like Pluto, pulled in by Neptune's gravity long ago. Triton is cold, one of the coldest places in the solar system. Its surface is pink and cracked and icy. But when Voyager flew by, it saw geysers, real ones, dark plumes of nitrogen erupting into the sky. Even here, in the deep dark, things are moving. Neptune has rings too, faint, dusty, easy to miss, but they're there, arcs of material shepherded by tiny moons, just enough to remind us that beauty exists, even where it's barely visible. The sun, from Neptune, is just a bright star in the sky. It casts shadows, but barely. Heat? A whisper. Light? Faint? But still, Neptune spins, storms swirl, moons orbit, life goes on. This is the edge of the classical planets. Beyond here, we leave the known and head into the strange. I hope you're still with me, because next, we're stepping into the frontier, the world of icy wanderers, dwarf planets, and secrets. Next is Pluto, a little planet that could, or used to be a planet, until 2006, when some scientists took a vote and decided it wasn't one anymore. Still hurts a little, doesn't it? But Pluto didn't change, just the rules. And if you ask me, Pluto's still out here doing its thing, cold, distant, mysterious, and honestly, kind of iconic. It lives in the Kuiper Belt, a vast ring of icy bodies orbiting beyond Neptune. Think of it as the solar system's twilight zone. Not quite planets, not quite gone, just drifting, slowly, silently. Pluto is small, about 2/3 the width of Earth's moon. But it's got heart. Literally. When the New Horizons spacecraft flew by in 2015, it sent back images of a giant, heart-shaped glacier. We named it Tombaugh Regio, after the guy who discovered Pluto. But you can just call it Pluto's Flex. Because yeah, it's tiny, but it has mountains, ice volcanoes, atmosphere, hazy blue skies at sunrise and sunset, and maybe, just maybe, a subsurface ocean, liquid water, under all that ice, still warm, still waiting. It also has 5 moons. The biggest one, Charon, is so close in size that Pluto and Charon don't orbit each other. They orbit a point in between, like a slow dance where neither partner leads, just spinning together. And if you stood on Pluto, suited up of course, you'd see the sun as just a bright star. It wouldn't warm your face, but it would still light your shadow. Even here, 6 billion kilometers from home, the Kuiper Belt is full of Plutos. Tiny, icy bodies, all leftovers from the early days. There's Haumea, shaped like a squashed egg, spinning so fast it's nearly falling apart. Make, with a frozen methane surface and the best name to whisper in the dark. And then there's Eris. Slightly smaller than Pluto, but heavier. The one that triggered the great planet debate. Like a cosmic rival. Distant, cold, dramatic. Together, they're part of this strange, distant family. Not planets, not forgotten. Just waiting at the edge. And beyond even them? One last boundary. The Oort Cloud. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's take a breath. You made it this far, through fire and storms and silence, through rings and canyons and secrets frozen in ice. Pluto isn't the end, but it feels like one. A soft goodbye, a final orbit, and from here, everything else is just starlight. Beyond Pluto, beyond the Kuiper Belt, into the dark. Out here is the Oort Cloud. No one's ever seen it. No spacecraft has touched it. But we know it's there. A massive, invisible sphere of icy bodies, surrounding the entire solar system like a bubble. It could stretch halfway to the next star, maybe farther. It's not a belt like the Kuiper region. It's a shell. All directions, all silence. These are the leftovers of leftovers, comets, frozen solid, untouched since the solar system formed. Trillions of them, just floating, like ghosts. Sometimes something nudges one. a passing star, a ripple in the galaxy, and that icy body begins a slow fall inward, toward the sun, toward us. That's how we get long-period comets, glowing visitors with icy tails. Some take thousands of years to complete a single orbit. Others might never come back. Halley's Comet is famous, but she's a short-period one. The Oort Cloud is home to the deep sleepers, the ones who've been out here for ages, waiting. Voyager 1, our most distant spacecraft, is only just entering this region, and it'll take another 30,000 years to pass through it completely. Think about that. 30,000 years. And it's still not even out of the solar system. That's how big this place is. And out here, the sun is just a pinprick, a brighter star among stars. Everything we've talked about, the planets, the moons, the rings, the storms, it's all behind us now, all inside a speck. From this far out, the solar system feels small. But that's only because you're thinking in kilometers. Think in stories, and it's infinite. But we're not leaving just yet. There's still something at the center of it all, the one that holds everything together. Let's go back to the beginning. Back to the sun. Back to the center. Back to the sun. Everything in our solar system, every planet, moon, comet, grain of dust, exists because of that one golden star. It's not the biggest star, not the brightest, just ours. A G-type main sequence star, about halfway through its life, middle-aged, comfortable, burning hydrogen into helium deep in its core, quietly, constantly. Every second, the sun converts 4 million tons of matter into energy. That energy becomes light, warmth, life, and it takes 8 minutes to travel from the sun to your face. So the sunlight you feel on your skin, it left the sun 8 minutes ago. The sun makes up 99.8% of the mass in the solar system. It's gravity incarnate, holding everything in orbit, balancing planets like a puppeteer with invisible strings. Without the sun, we'd be nothing, floating rocks in darkness. It's about 1.4 million kilometers across. You could line up 109 Earths across its diameter, and over 1 million Earths could fit inside its volume. But it's not solid. It's plasma, superheated gas held together by its own gravity. The surface is around 5,500 degrees Celsius, but the core, over 15 million. And the sun is active. Sunspots, cooler, darker patches, come and go on an 11-year cycle. Solar flares burst from the surface, sending waves of charged particles across space. Sometimes those particles hit Earth's magnetic field, and we get auroras, dancing lights in the sky, green and purple ribbons at the poles. The sun's whisper, brushing our atmosphere. And even though it feels steady to us, the sun is changing. Slowly. Someday, billions of years from now, it'll run out of hydrogen. It'll swell into a red giant, maybe engulf Mercury, Venus, maybe Earth. But not tonight. Tonight, it burns softly. A cosmic candle. The quiet heartbeat of the solar system. Ancient cultures worshipped it. Plants reach for it. Humans revolve their lives around it. And here you are, lying in bed, carried through space by its gravity, warmed by its light, comforted by its glow. It's not just a star, It's your star. And the reason you exist. All right, we visited the edge and returned to the core, but we're not done yet. Want to hear about some of the weirdest, wildest things in the solar system? Let's go. We've been playing it safe. Planets, orbits, structure. But the solar system? She's got secrets. And they're weird. Let's start with this one. It might rain diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Yeah, seriously. Deep inside those planets, the pressure is so high and the temperature so strange that scientists believe carbon atoms get squeezed into diamonds, which then fall, like glittering hail, through layers of blue gas. Imagine that. A storm cloud full of diamonds, drifting in silence. And speaking of weird weather, Venus has lightning. Not just cute flashes either. Intense, wild storms flashing through clouds of sulfuric acid. And it rotates so slowly that its upper atmosphere actually laps the planet itself, like its sky is running circles around it. Now let's talk about moons. We already met a few wild ones, like volcanic Io or oceanic Europa. But there's more. Take Iapetus, one of Saturn's moons. Half of it is bright white, the other half is pitch black. No gentle transition, just a line, like someone spray-painted one side. Scientists think it's from icy particles accumulating on one hemisphere, while the other's been cooked and coated in dark material. But it still looks like a cosmic Oreo. And Mars has a giant scar. Valles Marineris, a canyon system so big it would stretch across the entire United States. It's not just wide, it's deep. Up to 7 kilometers down. If you stood on the edge, you might not even see the bottom through the Martian haze. Also, there's a moon that's slowly dying. Phobos, one of Mars' little moons. It orbits so close that Mars' gravity is pulling it inward, little by little. In 30 to 50 million years, it'll either crash into Mars or break apart and form a ring. So Mars might get its own Saturn moment, just late. And then there's Mercury. Hot, right? Blistering. But at its poles, deep inside craters that never see sunlight, there's ice, frozen water, on the closest planet to the sun, because space is full of plot twists. Let's throw in this. Saturn's rings? Temporary. They're being eroded by sunlight and gravity. Bits fall into the planet like rain. In 100 million years, give or take, they could be gone. That iconic look? Just a phase. A beautiful, shimmering, cosmic teenage phase. Also, Jupiter's magnetic field? Huge. If it were visible, it would look larger than the full moon in Earth's sky, and it's strong enough to fry electronics instantly. If Earth had a field that big, we'd never lose Wi-Fi again, but we'd probably also glow. Here's a sweet one. Earth's moon is drifting away. About 3.8 centimeters per year. That means in a few 100 million years, total solar eclipses won't happen anymore. The moon will look too small to cover the sun. So we're living in the only era where you can watch the moon perfectly eclipse the sun. Kind of poetic, right? And one last fun one. The solar system has a tilt problem. All the planets orbit more or less in the same plane, but the whole system is tilted compared to the sun's rotation. Like everything's slightly off. It's led some scientists to wonder if there's something else, something massive, way out there. A planet 9, still hiding, still waiting to be found. Or maybe it's just the universe being cheeky. Either way, the solar system is wild. Not just beautiful or logical, but bizarre, chaotic, improbable. And maybe that's why we love it, because it's a little like us. Now, take a breath. We've seen it all. From diamond rain to frozen lava moons to an icy heart orbiting in darkness. Let's float just a little longer. Time to wind down. Titan, Europa, Enceladus, Ganymede. But there are over 300 moons in our solar system. Some tiny, some broken, some just bizarre. Let's meet a few. Starting with Mimas. Saturn's moon that looks like the Death Star, not even joking. There's a giant crater, Herschel, smack in the middle, making the whole thing look like a prop from a sci-fi movie. But Mimas is real, cold, covered in impact scars. And, ironically, one of the quietest moons we know. Now flip to Neptune. Most people only know about Triton. But there's one called Nereid. It has the most eccentric orbit of any known moon. It swings in and out like it's on a slingshot. Scientists think it might have been captured or kicked around by Triton. Either way, it's wild. Then there's Hyperion, another Saturnian oddball. It spins chaotically, literally, no predictable rotation, no steady rhythm, just tumbling through space like a sponge in a washing machine. It also looks porous, like it's been hollowed out by time. Want something moodier? Try Umbriel, one of Uranus's dark moons, covered in ancient frozen craters, barely reflects any light. It's so gloomy, it almost disappears against the backdrop of space. One crater has a bright spot in the center, just one. They named it Wanda. And let's not forget Pan, a teeny moon nestled inside Saturn's rings. It's only about 35 kilometers wide, but its gravity clears out a space in the rings, like it's carving a path. It also looks like a flying saucer. Really? A moon with a ridge around its equator, probably from collecting ring material over time. Then there's Dactyl, a tiny moon orbiting asteroid Ida. It's the first moon we ever found around an asteroid, discovered almost by accident, just hanging out with its rocky friend, like a surprise +1 at a cosmic party. And how about Chariklo? Technically a centaur object, not quite asteroid, not quite comet, and it has rings. Actual rings, around a body that small. We only discovered them because it passed in front of a star and the light flickered in this perfect, revealing way. It's a reminder that even the tiniest objects can be dressed in elegance. Some moons are just broken pieces of bigger things. Others may have formed alongside their planets. Some are captured, stolen from deep space. Every single one has a story. And most of those stories, we haven't even read yet. One day, we will. But for now, they just orbit. Quiet, distant, forgotten. Except by you. Know all of this. We've never walked on Mercury. We haven't swum under Europa's ice. No one stood on Pluto's surface. And yet, we know. Because humans are explorers, even when their feet stay on the ground. It started with watching the skies. Thousands of years ago, people noticed 5 bright lights moving differently from the stars. They called them wandering stars, planets. They tracked their patterns, named them after gods, built monuments to mark their paths. Stonehenge, the pyramids, ancient temples aligned with sunrise and moonlight. They didn't have telescopes, but they had wonder. Then came the instruments. In 1609, Galileo turned his telescope to the sky. He saw Jupiter's moons, the phases of Venus, craters on the moon. The universe cracked open. In the centuries that followed, our tools got sharper, bigger. We discovered Uranus, then Neptune, then Pluto, each one like unlocking a new level in a game we didn't know we were playing. And then we left. We built rockets, probes, little robotic messengers sent into the void. Voyager, Pioneer, New Horizons, Cassini, Juno, Voyager. One launched in 1977. It flew past Jupiter and Saturn, took pictures, measured particles, and kept going. It's still going. Right now, it's over 23 billion kilometers from Earth, drifting into interstellar space. On board, a golden record. Literally, a gold-plated disc filled with sounds of Earth, greetings in dozens of languages, whale songs, music, a kiss, a baby crying, just in case someone or something out there finds it. We didn't just want to explore. We wanted to say hello. And telescopes? They never stopped improving. Today, we've got eyes in space. Hubble, James Webb, looking farther and deeper than ever before, seeing galaxies billions of years old, watching stars be born, watching planets swirl into existence. And everything we know about our solar system is just the beginning. There are moons we haven't mapped, rings we haven't seen, comets that haven't yet fallen toward the sun. There might be a 9th planet still hiding in the dark, or 10, or none. That's the magic. Every year we learn something new, and every answer opens another question. And through it all, you're here, listening, wondering, part of it. Because space isn't just out there. It's yours, made it. We like to think the solar system was always this way. Neat, stable, labeled. But the early days? Total chaos. Planets crashing into each other. Moons being stolen. Entire worlds getting kicked out like they never belonged. Some scientists believe there was a 5th gas giant, long gone, maybe ejected from the solar system by Jupiter. It would have changed the way everything else moved. Its fingerprints might still be in the orbits of the outer planets. And then there's Planet 9. Hypothetical, massive, possibly lurking beyond the Kuiper Belt. We haven't seen it yet. But something out there is tugging at distant objects, guiding them like an unseen hand. Some even think it might be a rogue planet, one that formed around another star and got captured, or maybe it was born here and then flung away, lost in the cold dark between stars. And Earth? Almost had a twin. They call it Theia. A Mars-sized body that may have collided with Earth 4.5 billion years ago. The debris from that impact formed the moon. So, yeah, our moon might be the child of a destroyed planet. The solar system we see today, it's just what's left, up moving now. No more planets, no more facts, just stillness. You're floating somewhere beyond Pluto, beyond the Oort Cloud, far past everything we've ever mapped. There's no up, no down, no pressure, just you, suspended in cosmic dark, and me, still here. The stars look different out here. Brighter, lonelier, the kind that whisper secrets if you stay quiet long enough. The sun is just a pale star behind you now, but you can still feel its warmth. Not on your skin, but in your chest, like a memory. And the planets? They're still out there, spinning silently, keeping time, holding the rhythm of the solar system like an old lullaby. Jupiter is still protecting, Saturn is still glowing, Mars is still dreaming of oceans, Earth is still turning. And you? You're not separate from all this. You're made of it. Carbon, calcium, iron, all built in stars long before Earth even formed. You are the universe, thinking about itself. And maybe tonight, you needed to hear that. So let go. Let your breath slow. Let your limbs get heavy. Let the last little questions dissolve into stardust. You've traveled far enough for one night. Sleep now, starlight. I'll be here, orbiting your dreams. Good night, from Lana, and from the stars.